Imagine you're on a battlefield with 70 pounds of gasoline on your back. You're slow. You're exposed. Every sniper, every machine gunner knows exactly who you are. And when you finally pull the trigger, the world in front of you turns into a wall of fire, and hell swallows everything. This was the life, and often the death, of the flamethrower operator. In World War II, they were both the most feared and the most hunted men on the battlefield. And almost none of them survived the war. The idea wasn't new. The Germans had pioneered the man-portable flamethrower in World War I. It was crude, heavy, and required multiple men to operate, but terrified enemy troops like nothing else. By the time World War II erupted, every major power had its own design. The M2 for the Americans, the Flammenwerfer 35 and 41 for the Germans, the Type 93 for the Japanese. These were lighter, more portable, and far deadlier. They could send a jet of burning fuel up to 150 feet, or snake it through bunker openings like a living thing. The job description was simple: clear obstacles that bullets couldn't. But the survival odds? Abysmal. A flamethrower was essentially a pressure system strapped to a man. 2 or 3 tanks on the back held fuel, often gasoline thickened with rubber or napalm powder. Another smaller tank held compressed gas, usually nitrogen. A hose and nozzle led to a trigger assembly with an ignition system at the tip, sometimes a spark plug, sometimes a small burning pilot flame. When the operator pulled the trigger, compressed gas forced fuel down the hose, igniting it in a stream of liquid fire. It was devastating against bunkers, caves, and fortified trenches. The flames weren't just hot, they consumed oxygen, turning confined spaces into death traps. But here's the catch. Those tanks? They were basically wearing a bomb on your back. One lucky shot, and you'd vanish in a flash. In the Pacific, flamethrower men were indispensable and doomed. Japanese defenders in places like Iwo Jima and Okinawa dug into caves, bunkers, and underground tunnels. Rifles couldn't reach them. Grenades barely scratched them. Only fire could flush them out. Marine flamethrower operators advanced slowly, hunched under the weight of the tanks. Behind them, riflemen tried to cover them from snipers and machine guns. In front of them, hidden enemy eyes tracked every step. Survivors recall the same moment of dread the second they lit up. Because once that flame appeared, every gun zeroed in on the man holding it. One Marine on Okinawa said, "The second you fired, you became the brightest thing on the battlefield." They'd kill you before you could take a second shot. Even without enemy fire, the job was brutal. The heat from your own weapon could scorch your face. Fuel leaks were common, and you had just 8 to 12 seconds of total fire time before your tanks ran dry. The Battle of Tarawa, November 1943. Marines land on Bidio Island and face heavily entrenched Japanese forces. Machine guns and bunkers stall the assault. Flamethrowers move in. Operators crawl forward under fire, reaching the walls of Japanese positions. One burst into a pillbox, flames shooting through firing slits, screams echoing inside. The effect was immediate. Some defenders fled the fortifications. Others never came out. But the cost? Many of the flamethrower men died before they could reach their targets, their tanks hit, their bodies consumed. To the enemy, the flamethrower was the most feared weapon in the field. It wasn't just death, it was a horrific death. German and Japanese manuals explicitly ordered troops to target flamethrower operators first. In some cases, they would risk breaking cover, just to take one out before he got close. On the Eastern Front, Soviet troops who saw a German Flammenwerfer often attacked in suicidal rushes to kill the operator before he could fire. In the Pacific, Japanese soldiers sometimes launched banzai charges solely to eliminate flamethrower teams. The psychological impact was so great that some defenders surrendered the moment a flamethrower appeared. Even for the men carrying them, the job left scars. Killing with a rifle could feel distant. With a flamethrower, you saw it all. You heard the screams. You smelled burning flesh. Some veterans never spoke of their missions. Others admitted they were haunted for life. A few refused medals, saying they couldn't accept an award for what they'd done. By the Korean War, man-portable flamethrowers were already being replaced by vehicle-mounted versions. They were safer for the operator, offered more range, and carried far more fuel. The Vietnam War saw their last major use by U.S. forces, after which the weapon fell out of favor. By the 1970s, most NATO countries had retired them entirely. In 1980, the United Nations Protocol 3 on incendiary weapons effectively banned their use against civilians. The flamethrower gave a single soldier the power of a dragon, but it also painted a target on his back. It was the ultimate paradox of war. The more fear you inspired, the more certain your death became. In the end, the flamethrower operator wasn't just fighting the enemy. He was fighting time, and time always won.